Yes, yes, yes. Ok, her vi skulle.
Yes.
Ja, da er vi på lufta da. Bare venter på kollegaen min. Jeg leiter egentlig etter den har jeg lyst til å se på. The Vaping Bogan er fin, vet du. Men da blir det litt bråk. Hvis dere skal høre noe, så venter jeg til han kommer inn på her. Setter den der. Så ser vi hva som skjer.
Once again for another Dinky Die review.
Ja, datt den ut.
G'day, bloody dickheads, vaping fucking bogan. Back once again for another Dinky Die review. How the fuck are you lot? Hope you're all doing tip bloody top. Got ourselves a big fucking top today, cunts. If you're into girthy things, if you're into thick RDAs, you might like this one. The Ascaro from Vapers Cloud. So I've been calling it the Ascaro. It's the Asgard. For some fucking reason, I thought that D was an O. I think it kind of looks like an O, but anyway, Asgard, not Ascaro. Grab a beer, and every time I say Ascaro during this video, have a fucking drink. We'll see how drunk you get. Have a look at this monster. Big 30mm diameter, and she even comes with a 33mm fucking beauty ring. So yeah, if you're into thick fucking stuff, there you go. She's thicker than your dumb brother. This is not the drip tip that it comes with. This is from Signature Tips, and I've got it sitting atop the carbon topside, or topside carbon from fucking Brian, the Vapor Chronicles. Anyway, let's take it for a fucking toot. Got it at 101 watts, because that's how many Dalmatians I've got. And the coil build, if you're wondering what I've got in here, is a couple of big fucking aliens reading at 0.11. Tons of fucking clouds, but heaps of fucking airflow. It's got a really interesting little airflow system, kind of like what you might call, or what I think Brian from Vapes Cloud was calling a dual diffusion. The airflow comes through one set of air holes and then goes through another set of air holes, so really, really fucking smooth. But despite being a mammoth RDA, it's got quite a sort of small condensed top to it, which is where all the fucking action happens, and the flavour is bloody tip top. Anyway, we're going to get into more of that in a fucking moment. Let's quickly talk a little bit of vape advocacy. As you know, dickheads, I'm always banging on about it. We need to do something to fight our governments that are fucking over-regulating this shit in places like the United States, and here in my home country of Australia. South Australia has just gone under. You've got the federal government has just been, newly re-elected, so we need to fucking see what they do. But now is the time to be writing your members of parliament, okay? The new members of parliament that have just, been re-elected or have changed seats or whatever. You need to be writing them an email telling them you won't be supporting any pollies that aren't pro-vaping, because we do know that the Australian federal government will most likely be making some sort of a regulation move, in the next 12 to 24 months. Who fucking knows? They sit on their hands all bloody day long, but they are going to do something in the imminent future, so we need to let our government know. All right, links in the description to ATHRA, Australia's best fucking organisation to sort of help with advocacy, and there's a big fundraiser happening at the moment for them. I'll put a link to that too. But yeah, get on it. For anyone else in the world, there's some links down there in the description. Let's get into a fucking beer. Today's beer is from Three Ravens. It is called Acid, and as you might guess it from the fucking name, it is a sour beer. It's brewed over in Victoria, so I don't know how accessible this will be for the international viewers, but a tropical, bright and squelchy sour ale. 3.5%. Celebrate good times and great people with this easy drinking, thirst quenching number. A refreshing acidity and bright tropical flavour makes this summery beer infinitely crushable. Keep cold, drink fresh, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's see how she tastes. Well, there you go, dickheads. Golden, clear in complexion. Lots of nice fizzy head there. Looks like it's pretty effervescent. Yep, smells like a sour to me. It's got that kind of grassy sort of sour sort of smell. I'm not sure. I may have had this one in the past. Can't quite remember, but we'll see if it's as good the second time around. Oh fuck yeah, that is good. That is a top fucking sour. I'm always very skeptical of the sour beers as to whether they're going to be enough sour. Or sour enough. That is a fucking delightfully sour. Really nice, puckery sourness there. It's got a very fresh, as they say on the can, a tropical kind of flavour. I'm getting a little bit of kind of berries, I reckon. There's almost like kind of a raspberry sort of taste to it. Very tropical and yeah, nice sort of sour and a wheaty kind of feel on the end. Let's pair it up with a fucking juice, eh? Got a juice here from Hunting Clouds over in New Zealand. This one is sour blackberry. I can't believe I haven't fucking featured this juice yet. It is a top-notch fucking juice. A proper sour juice. A lot of juices, it's fucking sour, but it's not. And this one really is a nice fucking sour juice. And the blackberry, bang on, dark, blackberry flavours should go, I reckon, pretty well with this sour beer. We might have a good pairing here, dickheads. Let's see. Oh, that is fucking delightful. That blackberry is just going fantastically over this fucking beer here. And the sours are just clashing together and making a super sour fucking feel. That is a fucking winner. That is a fucking winner, dickheads. Alright, let's see if this fucking RDA is a winner. Let's get down to the up and bloody close. We'll show you the ins and outs, the bits and bobs, this interesting sort of airflow design, and then we'll talk some pros, cons, price, and everything else. We'll chuck in a little wicking tutorial as well, I reckon. Let's get in there and have a squiz. Alrighty then, so this is the packaging your Ascaro will come in, just a simple little felt baggie, typical of Vapers Cloud. Inside you will find the Ascaro RDA, obviously. This is the stainless steel version. A 33mm beauty ring, so 30mm the RDA standard. This will take it up to 33. An alternative very large black Delrin drip tip. This is 22mm from side to side and a bore of 11mm. And a bag of spares, some O-rings, some spare grub screws and an Allen key wrench. But let's get into it. It is a 30mm RDA, as I mentioned before, so quite a bit of fucking girth on this one. You've got a little bit of an engraving around the side here, Ascaro. Pretty sort of minimal though with the engravings, just a simple VC over here for the Vapers Cloud. Got a bit of sort of engraving around the top there. This is the drip tip. She comes with pre-installed. It's a little bit shorter than the spare one and a little bit narrower. It's only 21mm across. I think they have the same bore though, but just a little bit smaller overall. Down at the fucking bottom, something pretty clever. I really like this. Very simple idea, but very clever. So it's got the squonk pin pre-installed, and then when you don't want to squonk with it, all you do is unscrew one of these little Allen keys. They've got screwed into the bottom there, little Allen key bolts. You take that out and you just screw him into the bottom of the squonk pin. So you don't have to take the pin out. I've had situations where I've been using an RDA as, say, a squonker. It's got the squonk pin pre-installed. I've got my wick and my coils already in there. And then I've gone, oh, actually, you know what? I want to swap this to a different mod. And then you've got to undo the squonk pin, which is going to sometimes change the coil a little bit. And you might need to repulse it and pinch it because you'll get a hot spot or something because it's disrupted the setting of the coil through taking out the squonk pin. Not a problem with this. You just take out the little Allen key bolt, screw them in, and away you go. No more squonk hole. So really, really simple, but a clever idea. Little serial number engraved on there, 327, and Vapers Cloud over there. And yeah. Drip tip is 810 size, so you will be able to use your sort of standard custom drip tips in there. All of mine fit with no issues. Got the O-ring on the inside of that little Ultim insert. So let's have a look at that Ultim insert. Let's get in there. So on the inside of the barrel, you've got a little Ultim insert, and this is basically your AFC, but it's also sort of a diffuser for your airflow. All right, so you've got honeycomb air on the outside here, and then if we twist this, we're actually closing off that AFC. I don't know if you can see that Ultim kind of moving in there, but it's closing from one side to the other with the Ultim. If we twist it closed and then push, out comes that Ultim piece there. And it's got a second sort of airflow diffusion action happening here. So you've got a bit more honeycomb action, which is going to basically be directed downwards. I don't know if you can see that there, that the airflow is actually cut on an angle. So the little honeycomb sections are cut on an angle, and so is this larger section here as well, meant to kind of scoop down underneath your coil and get a bit of undercoil airflow. So your air is coming through one set of honeycomb holes and then going through another set of honeycomb holes. So it's got really, really nice smooth airflow, and there's a really nice sort of pressure created going through these two sort of airflow holes. And that's your Ultim piece there. And that basically just sits or locks into these little lugs here. And so when you're adjusting your airflow, you're just twisting the outside barrel, and it's basically opening or closing the Ultim here. Now, what's great about that is the airflow is coming through this first diffuser, and it never changes the direction of that airflow, however much you close it off or open it up, because it's the outer sleeve. The inner sleeve is always going to be allowing airflow basically through those holes there directly onto the center of your coil. So I really like that. And that Ultim piece basically just runs on that little tray you can kind of see just in here. Got a little lug here, and then basically you slot him in. There we go. And then you can just twist it. Now let's have a look at this fucking deck here. Pretty sort of simple in its design. You've got 4 terminals. All right, you've got your positive post coated in gold, or positive terminals coated in gold, I guess, for a little bit of an extra conductivity. And yeah, you've got 4 slots. So you're going to put a coil here and a coil here, and then your wicks basically dangling down into these little trays here, or should I say, big fuck off trays. Let's see how deep that is. You're looking at a whopping 9.5 millimeters of juice well there, cunts. Very, very nice. I like that. I like it a lot. Lots and lots of juice there, and squonk pin basically just sort of slightly raised up, just a little millimeter or so raised up off the bottom there. But yeah, loads and loads of room for juice, whether you're dripping or you're fucking squonking. So yeah, pretty simple. Your terminals are accessed via the side here with a nice little recessed flathead screw. So you're just going to wind him out and basically clamp your coil straight in there. Great design, great thing about this design is your coil's sitting in here, so you're never going to twist or distort your coil legs. Yeah, that's about it. You've got a little bit of a lip, bit of a rim at the bottom here to help you keep juice off the top of your mod. Double O-ring, which we like to see. It's got all the good stuff, cunts. It's got all the good stuff. So, yeah, this is the black version. This is one I've been using, and yeah, fits really nicely on the Dovpo fucking topside carbon from Brian the Vapor Chronicles. Just squeezes in. Just. You can see there's a tiny little bit of air between my my fucking fill cap here and my RDA, so it just squeezes on there at 30 millimeters, but she looks pretty sweet. Very nice. And I've been running a drip tip here from Signature Tips, if you're fucking wondering. So let's have a little look at my coils, and we'll throw some wicks in here and show you what I've been doing. These are some big boys. I thought, being a 30 millimeter RDA, that I would need to go for some big fuck off fat coils. It's actually quite a small condensed chamber in here, and I'll talk about it in a second, so I didn't need to go 3.5. 3 millimeters would have been very satisfactory. 3.5s are actually getting a little tight. Game over, man. Alien 3.5 millimeter inner diameters. They're a triple core of 26 gauge nichrome, and then Alien wrapped with 36 gauge nichrome. 5 wraps, and they came in at, what do we got here? 0.11, which is where you would expect them. And yeah, some fantastic fucking coil work here from Mr. Andrew Gooley. Love your stuff, mate. Very, very nicely done. Now, as I said, these are a big set of coils, 3.5 millimeters in diameter. You don't need to go that big. It's actually reasonably small and condensed. Once you have that Ultim piece on here, it gets kind of tight with 3.5s. 3s would have been probably more preferable, or would have had to worry less about it touching the Ultim or anything like that. But what I did when I first built it up, dickheads, is I had the coils pushed quite sort of close together with just a small gap between them. And I found it to be a little bit spitty because they're very close to your drip tip. If we put on the top cap here and take off the drip tip, you can see the coils are sitting in there pretty close to the top of that Ultim. So I took my wicks out, I pushed the coils back out just to where you see them now, sort of further, basically directly almost above the holes that you're slotting them into. So yeah, it just fixed up that sort of spitting issue, made it a little bit less sort of close to your mouth, and I had no issues. But yeah, just keep them out a little bit further. Also helps when you're dripping through the middle, if you're using it as a drip and not a squonker, to have a little bit of space there so that it does get down into your juice well easily. But yeah, they're the coils I've been using. Let's chuck a couple of wicks in here, and I'll see you cunts up the fucking top. Voila, there you go, dickheads. As you can see, I didn't actually need to drip onto the cotton when using it as a squonker because your airflow's up so high and you've got that second layer of sort of diffusion in there that I was able to squonk the juices, you can see, right up over the top of the coil, get all of my wick nice and saturated, and then just start vaping. I didn't need to get out my bottle of juice and prime the cotton or anything like that. So, yeah, really fucking neat little feature there. Very, very good for the anti-leaking. Let's jump back up top. Let's talk pros, cons, prices, and everything fucking else. So there you go, dickheads, bit of a squiz at the Asgard. As you can see, it is a big fucker and plenty of fucking nice design in there though. Really, really clever. That dual fucking airflow system really, really smooths it out. Excuse them fucking wah. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk the fucking pros and cons. What do we like? What do we not like about this? Well, airflow is definitely a big pro for me. It is super, super smooth, particularly for a big, very airy, RDA. It is a 30mm, it's beefy, it's big, you can put some big coils in there, and wide open, it's got plenty of airflow, but it's super, super smooth. A lot of your larger 30mm RDAs quite often end up with quite, sort of airy, kind of noisy airflow, and this, not the case at all. Really, really nice and fucking smooth. So a big pro on the airflow. The anti-leaking that airflow provides as well. As you saw when I was squonking, I could actually squonk juice up over the top of the fucking coil, and I didn't have it leaking out of the AFC. So that's a big fucking pro. That deep, deep juice well holds a lot of juice, so that's a great thing in itself. But the way they've designed that airflow, it just doesn't really want to fucking leak too easily, which I think is bloody brilliant. The flavour is top fucking notch. Again, particularly for a larger RDAs, quite often when you go to your big 30mm RDAs, you drop off a little bit of flavour. You got a bigger chamber, you got big coils and that sort of thing. But often the flavour is not quite as good as sort of some more condensed chambers. Not the case with this. It's deceptive. I put some big fucking 3.5mm coils in there. Didn't need to, didn't need that to fill up the space in there. 3mm will be just fine in terms of condensing that chamber enough. And as I said, the flavour is great. For something that's not necessarily under coil airflow, for side airflow really, and something that's super anti-leaking, the flavour is really there. So big, big pros on that one. Beauty ring. That's got to be a fucking pro. You know, not a lot of people are going to want 33 millimeter diameters on their RDAs, but there are plenty of people out there with big box mods, big lipo boxes and stuff like that, and that is kind of what Vapors Cloud, are all about, is big, beefy sort of shit. You know, there's plenty of other things, but they've always catered to those that want, big pieces of hardware. So, 33 millimeter beauty ring, I think that is a nice little touch in there. Really, really good on the accessories. Different drip tip sizes as well. I like that they've given you one sort of stumpy drip tip, and then they've given you a longer drip tip there as well, which I think is fucking brilliant. That squonk pin design, now that is fucking clever. It's a really, really simple, a very little thing, but there's two things it solves by putting the little Allen key bolt in the bottom of the RDA. It means you don't have to keep track of your squonk pins because there's no separate pin. You don't have to take it out. If you're like most vapors, you've got probably a bunch of RDAs. They've all got squonk pins these days, and they're all slightly different. So you've got to label them or keep them in their box, or you've got to keep track of your squonk pins. You don't have to keep track of your squonk pins with this one because you've got it screwed into the bottom of the RDA. The second thing, as I mentioned in the up and close, that's really brilliant is you don't have to disrupt your coils. Often if I'm using an RDA as a squonker and then I want to switch to regular or vice versa, you've got to take that squonk pin out, and that sometimes loosens the positive post just a little bit, disrupts the setting of the coil, and you've got to pulse and pinch it again, otherwise you might have a hot spot in there. So it's a bit of a fucking headache changing, your squonk pin. It's not just the pin, it's usually your cotton and readjusting the coils. You don't have that fucking problem here. You don't have to disturb the squonk pin. You just grab your little Allen key bolt, screw him in, Bob's your fucking uncle, away you bloody go. So, really, really simple, but a clever design there. I'd love to see that implemented in more RDAs in the future. So cons, what do we not like about it? Well, to be honest, dickheads, I don't really have any sort of deal breakers, any major cons here. There's more just a couple of things to point out with a device like this. It is fucking big. It's 30 millimeters, and with the beauty ring, obviously gets even bigger. So look, for those that don't want to put, big fucking RDAs on their devices, yeah, probably kind of not great. But they are making a 25 millimeter version. So if you're not into the big stuff, 25 millimeters is maybe more your style. Just hang about, because having spoken to Vapors Cloud, I know there is a 25 millimeter one on the way. Apart from that, the only thing I would really point out is it doesn't have as much airflow as some of the other 30 millimeter RDAs that Vapors Cloud have done in the past, or things like the Valhalla, which is obviously 40 millimeters. That's got a fuck ton of airflow, and I end up closing that down. With this one, I haven't closed it down. I've left it sort of as is. It seems to be perfect for these big 3.5 millimeter coils I've got in there. But if you are into tons of airflow, if you're into stuff like the Valhalla and you want that much airflow, you're not going to get that, quite that amount with this one. But again, nothing really to whinge about, just something to point out. Apart from that, I don't really have any fucking major complaints. It's got great flavour for a big side airflow RDA. Build quality is what you'd expect from Vapors Cloud. Very good, cut above some of the others. So the thing about it does it for this, dickheads. I'll put my usual Instagram and Facebook links down in the description if you want to check out what I'm doing outside of these bloody YouTube videos. If you want to support my channel, please do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. They're both free. But remember, I do run an independent channel. And what that means is there's no sponsorships here. There's no payment for doing reviews. I don't do affiliate links or any sort of sponsorship bullshit. I want to make sure you're getting an unbiased opinion on a product. But to keep doing that, a bit of public support is loved, all of that. Keeps me doing my thing. But if you can't, that's all good. Sub on your fucking dicks off, or your bloody tits off. I don't care what you're fucking vaping on, as long as it's not a bloody stinky cancer stick. That's all that fucking matters. Cheers for tuning in. Cheery fucking O. Gilda, ich komme nach Deutschland. Sehr gut, ja. A girthy fucker, one who likes the Vapors Cloud website in the UK. Fuck. So they are available on a few different sites. I saw the UK. Fuck me. G'day dickheads, vaping fucking bogan. Back once again for another Dinky Die review. How the fuck are you lot? Hope you're all having a stellar day. Different camera angle today. I'm on the Mike Vapes couch setup. I'm fucking just chilling on the couch like Mike Vapes. We're going to check out something from Vapers Cloud. The Asgard 25mm dickheads. Nobody likes a bogan. Nobody likes a bogan. G'day dickheads, vaping bogan. Back again for another Reggie Didge review. Hope you're all doing fucking primo. Got a big boy again today, dickheads. Another one from Vapers Cloud. The Valhalla V2. Big fucking 40mm topper. It's actually a little smaller than the version 1. We're going to check out all of the differences. Got it sitting atop the Hammer of God XL. So being a parallel series mechanical mod, I'm running some 0.3 ohm big fuck off aliens in here. Let's take it for a little ripperoo. Tons of fucking vapor as you'd expect, and a real boost in flavour, I think, compared to the original. Some quite significant changes to the deck, to the post, but also to the airflow. They've got a sort of cap on the inside, similar to what they've done with the Asgard. So have a look at all those bits and bobs, but before we can do that, yeah, let's crack a fucking beer. We're going back to Wales, dickheads, and a beer from Tiny Rebel, one of my favourite fucking brewers. This is Paradise City, New England IPA. Doesn't tell me much on the can here, just Laurel and Mosaic hops used, 6.8 fucking percent, brewed over in Newport, Wales. Let's see how she fucking tastes. Let's drink it! Well, there you go, cunts. Looking nice and fucking clear, which is a little different for a New England. Usually got a bit more of a haze to them. A fluffy fucking head, though. Oh, yeah, she smells fruity, dickheads. Lots of those sort of tropical aromas. A little bit of a banana kind of smell there. Fucking cheers. That is nice. Yeah, it does taste like a New England. It's got that sort of slightly thick mouthfeel, even though it isn't so hazy. Really fruity and a little bit creamy, which seems to be typical of Tiny Rebel beers. Their IPAs and their New England IPAs happen to have a little bit of a creaminess quite often. I'm getting more of that again. I'm getting sort of stone fruits and citrus, bananas in there, but a little bit of a creaminess. Maybe that banana, again, is giving that cream. Nice citrusy, hoppy sort of bite though. Definitely got that IPA kind of finish to it. Really quite smooth and easy drinking though. I fucking like this beer. Let's pair it up with a liquid. One of my favourite brewers and one of my favourite fucking juices. This is Noms X2. This is the Cactus, Mandarin and Jackfruit. It's one of my go-to citrusy liquids. Got a really, really prominent mandarin flavour, which I'm getting a lot of out of the Valhalla too here. It seems to be really lifting the mandarin in particular. Should go well, I think, with this tropical fucking beer. Bit of mandarin, bit of jackfruit, bit of cactus. Yeah, that fucking mandarin going really, really well with those citrusy sort of notes, giving it almost a little bit more of a bitter tart finish, taking away some of that creaminess. Really quite like that. Yeah, as always, the citrus, that mandarin going really, really well with the citrusy sort of notes in the beer. That's a fucking top-notch pairing. Anyway, dickheads, enough bloody waffling from me. We're going to get down in the up and bloody close. We'll have a good squiz at the new changes to the V2. I like what they've done here. We're not going to do a build tutorial. I actually did that fucking live, so I'll put a link in the description to the live stream I did. I think it was last week where I actually built and set this thing up. But we'll have a look at the coils I got in here. Let's get down there and have a sticky bake. Okie fucking dokie, dickheads. This is the packaging. Your Valhalla V2 will come in. Quite like what they've done here. Like what they did with the temples. It looks like a little fucking shoebox. You know, size, inches. Let's see what you get inside. Well, of course, you'll find the Valhalla V2. This is the gold edition. It also comes in matte black and stainless steel. And you get the usual bag of spare O-rings and grub screws. But let's have a look at it. So, it is a 40mm RDA. Big fucking wide bastard. It isn't any different in a width to the original, but it is significantly shorter, which is definitely, I think, improved the flavour along with a few other changes, but quite a bit shorter. I do like that, and they've kind of shimmed down the top bit here. It's not quite as tall and angled. I like it, and this new drip tip too, I think definitely looks a little bit more low profile. I like the engravings. They've kept those the same, the big Valhalla on the front there. Airflow is also positioned a little differently. You've got it up much higher on the new one, which is going to be good if you're dripping through the top. You won't have to worry about leaking so easily. Not that I really had a problem with the original, but it was possible to leak it a little easier than it is on the new one. So I'm liking all of those sort of exterior changes. We'll come back to the V1 in a moment and have a look at the deck, but for now let's go through the exterior. So you got a big fuck off 40mm diameter, as I mentioned. Got the usual Vapers cloud engravings there, serial number down here, and that's about it. The polished gold version is very, very shiny, as you can see here. Definitely going to get a few fingerprints on it, but that is the nature of the gold finishes. The matte black I have really fucking liked though. I think this matte finish they've gone with really looks quite nice. They've also got a stainless steel edition, which I don't have to show you. Just noticed there's no little quote on the bottom there. I kind of like that. Fight for honor and glory, live forever in Valhalla. They've done away with that on the new one. You got a proprietary drip tip up the top here, which I'm normally really not a fan of anything proprietary, but when you've got something like this, a big 40mm RDA, you kind of want some airflow to match. And I would have liked to have seen an 810 drip tip adapter to go in here. Would have been nice, just so if you wanted to try out your 810s, you could, but they have gone with just a straight proprietary, which I do like. I like the shape of it, I like the feel and the look, but I think maybe a little adapter or a second drip tip maybe in a more traditional shape would have been a nice inclusion. You've got the O-ring on the inside here, and a little bit different, you've got an Ultim insert, which we didn't have on the first one. We'll show you how that works when we get it off, but all nice and snug. Let's whack this little fucker on an Addy stand. Shout out to the Bearded Viking Customs over in South Africa. He makes these awesome skull Addy stands and a bunch of other crazy acrylic work. Check him out. Fucking top-notch dickhead. But back to the Valhalla. So, got to say that the O-rings are a nicer tolerance than they were on the first one. Both the black and the gold, I've noticed the O-rings really quite a nice tolerance. Just enough when they're dry, and when you lube them up, they're just a little bit looser, but not too loose. So got to shout out that nice improvement on the tolerances. So we pop the top off, and as you can see, the deck is a little different. It's now more of a postless style deck. We'll have a look at that in a second. But you've also got an Ultim insert in the top here. Quite like what they've done with the Asgards and more recently with the Temple version 2s, but you've got to pull out the drip tip here and then you can rotate this Ultim piece and it just slides straight out. You've got little notches in the top there, all really nicely machined, all very nicely gold plated, no burrs, spurs or fucking cowboy boots as Jay would say. And you've got that Ultim piece there, which is pretty similar to what they've done in the past, but its own little take. This is going to sit basically over your airflow slots, so just there. The air is going to come in through the side piece here, your barrel as such, and then it's going to come into this little chamber here. You've got a little space, you can see the cut, and then air's going forced straight through here and coming out underneath your coil in 2 or 3 holes there, a large square one and 2 little round ones. So if we have a look at the original deck, you can see they've moved from a more velocity style upright post system to a postless deck here where you're just dropping your coils straight in. That then gives you a little bit more room to play with your airflow. You can get your coil right over it, whereas this one here you're kind of only limited to just that large hole. And you can see the difference there in the airflow. It's coming out much lower down here than it is on the new one, and that's due to the fact that the first one didn't have that Ultim piece. So you have your big cap here and the airflow's coming in sort of going up, whereas with the new one, the outer airflow there is actually quite a bit higher than the original, so you're going to have less chance of fucking leaking, which is nice. And the addition of that Ultim piece really condenses the chamber in there, and I've noticed a big jump in flavour from the first one to this new version. You've still got tons and tons of room to fucking build. Do not worry about that. Unlike things like the Temple V2, which was a little bit restrictive in its build space with the Ultim insert, this fucker has got tons of room in there. I'll show you the coils that I've been using in just a moment. But yeah, you're going to be able to get pretty much any fucking build you can think of in there, even with that Ultim piece. You've also got huge fucking post holes, really nice chunky flathead grub screws just screwing in from the side there. No option for squonking, which is interesting, although I don't really know a squonk mod that this Addy will fucking fit on, so probably not a whole lot of people looking to use it as a squonker, but hey, why not fucking include it, Vapers Cloud? So these are the coils that I installed in the live stream the other week. So looking at a 28 gauge core wrapped in 36 gauge, 3mm in a diameter. A pair of them came in for me around about 0.31, 0.32, just over the 0.3 ohms, which is where I like it for a series fucking build. Tons of fucking width there on those coils, and I put them sort of straight over the main airflow hole, so you're getting really nice undercoil airflow. And as I said, I think the flavour is bumped maybe by the post change, so that you can get the coils a little bit more over the airflow, but I think also that Ultim piece condensing the chamber is a big contributing factor to why I think the flavour is better. Also, the height of the whole RDA has been condensed down, so all of those factors I think are contributing to some fantastic fucking flavour, and really, really easy to build and wick obviously as well. So if you want to see how I did it, check it out in the live stream, link in the description. But yeah, this fucker here definitely putting out some fucking clouds. So there you bloody go, dickheads. That's about it for these fuckers. Let's jump back up top, talk the pros, cons, prices, and all the other shit. So there you go, dickheads. The fucking Valhalla version 2. A whopper of a fucking RDA, and I tell you what, the flavour is whopping bloody good too. Well, let's get straight into the pros and fucking cons, dickheads. What did I like? What did I dislike? Well, I definitely love the changes they've made to the chamber as such. The reduction in space there with that Ultim insert, the reduced height, and the change in post allowing you to position your coils a little bit more over the fucking airflow, I think has contributed to a fucking massive bump in the flavour from the original. Not that the original wasn't great, it had great flavour, because you're putting big fucking coils in there a lot of the time, but there's definitely a noticeable jump in flavour, I think, from the first one. Very similar coils that I had in the original as to what I've got here, so I think I can definitely say that the flavour has been improved. I like the aesthetic changes as well. I think it's a better looking RDA being shorter, and that sort of change with the beveling around the top there, the drip tip change, all contributing to, I think, a nicer looking fucking Addy. It's also a little bit less likely to fucking leak with that raised airflow. Not that the first one was super prone to leaking, but it is nice to know that you've got just a little bit more height for that juice to travel before it's going to fucking dump itself out. And the total amount of airflow has actually been increased as well. I didn't really note that on the up and close, but the amount of holes is significantly fucking wider on the new version. So if you open it right up, you actually get a lot more airflow than you could on the original. You can still close that down, which I like to, a little bit more restricted than fully wide open, but it's nice to know that it's there for those that maybe thought the other one didn't have quite as much airflow as they would have liked. I don't know how, there's a fuck ton of airflow on both of these, but there's even more on the new one. But what have I got to fucking complain about? Not really much here. A couple of nitpicky little things that I would point out. I think maybe an 810 drip tip adapter would have been nice to include. Just something that you could pop in there to reduce it from this proprietary size down to an 810, so that those with custom drip tips maybe would want to fucking use them. Now, they might look kind of funny, a lot of your drip tips, because it is such a wide RDA, but it would have been nice just to have the option there so that we weren't just limited to this one drip tip size. But that's all I really fucking got to complain about. Not much here. It's really nice to see the improvements that they've made to that chamber, reducing it with that insert, the airflow, the post changes, and the overall fucking form factor. I think everything they've done here is really, really nice, and I don't really have much to fucking whinge about. So, what is the fucker going to set you back? Well, a little bit of a Google. You can pick them up all over the place. You can get them in the UK for around about 60 fucking pounds, a little bit less, even 55 I saw at one place. In the US, you're looking around about 75. It is a bit more expensive than some of the other RDAs on the market, but there's also a fair bit more fucking RDA than you get with others out there. It is a niche product, but I think for what they're offering, it's pretty damn bloody fair. So if you're a fan of the original Valhalla, I definitely think you're going to like what they've done with the version 2, and it is significantly different and worth picking up. But you cunts make up your own bloody mind, see what everybody else has to say. I'm going to get the fuck out of here, so I'll put the usual Instagram and Facebook links down in the description if you want to see what this Muppet gets up to outside of YouTube. If you want to support what I do, please hit the like and the subscribe button. They're both fucking free. But I do run an independent channel, which means I don't accept payments for doing these videos. There's no sneaky jumping the queue fees or any kind of sponsorships. I want to make sure you're getting a truly unbiased opinion on a product, but to keep doing that, a bit of public support is how I pay the bloody bills. So hit my Patreon page. There's special content and vlogs on there every week you won't see here on YouTube, as well as all the extra gear that I get, that extra Valhalla. We go on off to somebody at the end of this month, and their support keeps me doing my thing. But if you can't, that's all good. Sit back, sub-ome your fucking dicks off, or your bloody tits off. I couldn't give a shit what you're vaping on, whether it's 40mm, 22mm, or a fucking 18. As long as you're not banging the bloody bungers, that's all that matters. Cheers for tuning in. Cheery fucking oath.
Davidoff has been a symbol of elegance and luxury since the cigars were first introduced in 1967. Although still often associated with its Cuban heritage, they have been produced in the Dominican Republic since 1990. When enjoying a fine cigar, have you ever stopped to wonder?
All right, you beautiful mother chuggers. Yeah, boy. Today we got the Argus XT from Vupu, and then I've got the newest recurve from Mike Vape sitting on this bad boy. By the way, this is a 21700 battery in my kit, single 21700 battery in my kit, and this recurve RDA is no joke, man. No joke. Man, it produces probably the best flavor I've gotten out from an RDA in a long time. But man, this is a killer setup, isn't it? I got 4 reviews on both these things. Down in the comments section, pinned at the top. Recurve RDA, the newest one, with this Argus XT from Vupu. Check them out. Check those videos out. 4 reviews. Love you guys. All right, you beautiful.
What's up, peeps? My Vips here. Today we got an RDA. It's a dual coiler. It is a presentation video, not a review. It's for the Recurve version 2 by yours truly and Watofo. Before we go to the dive down, I'd like to apologize for the delay of the video. They were a little bit late shipping it to me. Then it got stuck in California. To tell you guys the truth, my RDAs for this presentation video are still stuck in California. They reshipped them. I got them yesterday to record this presentation video. That's what I'm doing right now. Let's go to the dive down. Let me show you guys everything you get. We're going to do a coil placement for the single coil part, and then the dual coil, I already have a build. I'm just going to do the cotton for both, and I'll give you some tips and tricks for this RDA. So let's dive down. Let's check out the Recurve version 2. And here's the packaging. The Recurve version 2 by yours truly and Watofo comes in. Inside the packaging, you're going to get a Phillips head screwdriver, this Allen key tool, a coiling rod, which is 3mm on one side, 5mm on the other. You'll get 3 coils, and there are the stats for those 3 coils. They also supply you cotton for all the coils, a user manual, this little baggie, which is going to have your squonk pin, extra post screws, O-rings, and a single coil adapter, and the Recurve version 2 RDA. So, as you can see, we kept the original style. We got the curve going on, like the original Recurve. Drip tip on there, Recurve style drip tip, but we kind of gave it dimensions of the intake. You guys remember the intake RTA, the dual coil one? That drip tip on there makes it look nice, well proportioned. Awesome drip tip. We have honeycomb airflow on both sides. Recurve on the bottom. Then on the bottom of the RDA, it's going to say Recurve, Mike Vapes, and it's got some other stuff. As you can see, Watofo and Mike Vapes designed, whatever, and so forth. 25mm. Actual dimensions is about 24.7mm, but we'll consider it a 25mm. What we've done different with this one here, the original Recurve and the Recurve Dual, both RDAs, was a one-piece top cap. We've gone with this one here, the version 2, a 2-piece top cap. So you adjust your airflow from up here. You can see over there all the airflow openings. And then by turning it,
got it set where you could cut the top row and just use these two bottom, or cut it again, or open it all up. All right, so we'll do that one more time, like that, or like that. Instead of it cutting it just all together on one side, you're always gonna have, as you can see, this bottom hitting the coil, the center of the coil. Top cap pops off like this. Give it a few twists. There is the airflow adapter. So now you're gonna grab this piece, pull it up like that. There's the inside of the barrel, top cap. This is the gunmetal airflow adapter. Pop it off, and this one pre-installed will be the dual coil adapter. And there you go, there's the build deck. It is a postless build deck. I know people are going to be like, this looks different than the other two build decks. Yes, it is different build deck, but for me, what I wanted to do with the adapters and so forth, we had to do a postless build deck. You can see we kind of have it curving down, and you can put about 2 mLs of e-liquid inside here. You could see the bottom, you see the opening. Then you can actually see it even better there. So you do have nice juice well inside there. It is deep. Screws on here are Phillips head screws, double O-ring, and obviously when you're squonking with this, it's going to obviously come out of those 2 bottom openings that you see there for squonking. The RDA, I have to say, vapes awesome in squonk mode. Here's a close look at the adapter. This one is the single coil one. You can see on top it does say Wotofo and Mike Vapes. This is Peak. There it is next to the dual coil adapter. And basically you're going to see those 2 little holes. That's where it just sits right inside there. Goes right into place. And when you're turning your top, this piece here, when you're turning it, it's not turning this. This stays independently. And with the RDA, when it's all together, there's also a locking system with it, so it locks into place. So in this video here, we're going to do a single coil build. We're going to do the 5mm coil that comes with it. Dual coils, I already got a build set up inside here. All I'm going to do is cotton, which I'll do that on camera. I'll put the cotton in here for you guys. But for people to see with a dual coil, when this is sitting right on top, you can see it there. Not touching anywhere. You're not gonna, I know people are gonna be like, oh, what if it touches? It won't. If you know how to build, then it'll be impossible for it to touch. You're gonna see how my coils are positioned. Obviously, when you're doing your cotton, you want your cotton to flow and drop in here. So you're not putting this coil all the way over here. It makes no sense. It's basically common sense on how you place it. Now, if you're going to use a coily tool, one of these coily tools, I recommend if you're going to use all the airflows, if you want it fully open, cut the coil like around 7.5 to 8mm. If you're just gonna do like a restrictive hit where you want just either the bottom row or just the 2 bottom rows, around 7.5mm, 7 actually, you'll be fine. Right now I have these set up at 8mm, but another thing is the holes that are inside here are kind of angled downwards. Now, first thing I'm going to do is grab the coiling rod that comes with the kit. You're going to see 5mm and 3mm. Now, you could also, it's not that you have to do 5mm for single coil. That's a thing with Wotofo. They're into their 5mm, but you could do anything you want inside it. You could do a 3mm coil if you want to. It doesn't have to be 5. The inner chamber, as you can see there, it's small, so you'll be good with the 3mm coil. Basically, these chambers, it reduces the chamber. That's the one thing about these here. You're getting a reduced chamber, and the flavor just intensifies with these. I know people can ask why I decided to do that, and that was one of the biggest reasons why. So you can see the coil that comes. This is the 5mm. I'm just going to do a little bend down like that. Now, same situation with here. If you're going to use the 5mm coil, 7 to 8mm, anywhere inside here. So what I'll do is for this video, I'm just going to do it at 7.5, drop it inside the coily tool, and snip the leads. So the next thing I'll do is I'll grab the coil and I'll see which ones I need to undo. So this top one and this one here. All right, first screw is opened up, and the second port opened up. Grab the coil. Which one was it again? I can't even see. There you go. Grab the coil, pop it in, and tighten it down. Then I'll grab the coiling rod, grab the 5mm side, just give it a little lift and make sure it's right in the center. Give it an inspection. Looking good. Gonna grab the single coil adapter, pop it on, and you can see where you are. And that's with 7.5mm. If you feel unsafe with it being that high, cut it at 7mm or 6.5. All right, now I'm gonna get the hot spots out. Just gonna pulse it, give it a few scrapes. Make sure it's glowing from the inside out. Now, while that's cooling off, I'm just going to wick up this one here because I already have this one ready. Now I'll slip in the second piece of cotton, pull that through, grab my scissors. I want to keep the cotton on the long side. So you're going to see there I got it past the build deck. Do the same thing on this side. Give it a comb out. Make sure we get both sides. And of course, I know people are going to ask, yes, of course. We're going to do under-unders. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys love the under-under action. Then I'm going to grab my magical tweezers and just plop that cotton right down inside there. And then what I like to do is, while it's obviously when it's going to be in here, while we're going to put liquid on it, I'm going to do a little separation on both sides. So this way, when you are dripping, the liquid's going to go in there. It'll be just simpler for it to be able to get down in the bottom. Either way, it's going to go down, but just to give it a faster process of going down there to fill up the bottom chamber. Now I'm going to put some liquid on there, and I will demonstrate what I was just talking about. Grab my tweezers. And just push the cotton a little bit to the right and to the left. See what I just did there? You want that to be kind of that separation of both of the pieces of this cotton. It just works. You don't have to do this, but this is the way I like to do it. It just works out better for me. So I know people are going to be like, how is the liquid going to get down there? There you go. That's how the liquid's going to get down there. All right, it's easy. Now, another demonstration here. We'll throw some liquid there, and you can see the liquid is going down. Now I'll grab the airflow insert, put that on top, grab my top cap, slip it on there. You're going to hear it, see that, lock in place. And now I could just sit here and adjust my airflow. Now that this is cooled down, I'll grab one of the cottons that they provide, shoelace style cotton, the 5mm one, pull that through, scissor. And like I said, want to keep it a little bit on the long side. Same thing on this side. Cut it there, give it a comb out this side. Wow, Steve's going to have fun with all this cotton right here. I told you guys already, right? He uses all this cotton for his pods. He re-wicks all of his pods. He's good at re-wicking pods. We'll see. Maybe one day we'll have him do a video on how to re-wick pod system with Mike Vapes' excess cotton. So now you're going to grab your tweezers and pop that down. So one thing about it, you got a very deep juice well in here, so you want to be able to get all the way down there with this. Do the same thing here. And pop it down. Now I'm going to add some liquid. All right, make sure to get both sides. Grab some of that excess cotton because we got a little spillage over here. There we go. That worked out good. Now I'm going to grab my tweezer and I'm just going to place the cotton perfectly in there. What I'm going to do is, see what I'm doing? I'm giving it a little bit of space there. And then I'll do the opposite side over here. So what that's going to do is that's going to help when I am filling up with liquid in here. Because for those that are going to say, oh, you have no juice well. By me dumping all this liquid in there, now it's going to be able to find a way to get to that bottom. So by you just holding it, you're just holding position of your coils or whatever, your RDA, your mod, it's going to fall right down there and go into that well. You can see how much, you can see it slowly decreasing and decreasing. Now I'll grab the single coil adapter, pop that on, top cap, pop that on, make sure it locks in place, airflow ring, pop that on. Now, as you guys saw, the RDA is going to come in black, gunmetal, gold, stainless steel, blue, and pukey rainbow. And there you go. That was the Recurve version 2 by Wotofo and yours truly. Let's go back up on top. Let's vape on it, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. There you have it. That was the up close Recurve version 2 by yours truly and Wotofo. Mike, your thoughts, pros and cons. I can't do that. I can't give pros and cons. I'll leave that to all the reviewers that are going to review it. And I hope all the reviews enjoy this RDA. Now, Mike, why did you do what you did? I will explain. I wanted the original Recurve look, curves, because remember, the Recurve Dual didn't have the curves. It was just a straight-bodied RDA for the Dual. I wanted this version 2 to have the looks of the original, because the original, obviously, everyone loved the curve, which we did here, but we wanted it to do single coil and dual coil. And to do that with my idea of these adapters, with that build deck from the original recurve and a recurve dual, we couldn't do it that way. So what we did was we just used a postless style build deck because that's basically the way it worked best for this situation. And I wanted to do honeycomb airflow, and I know everyone loved the original recurve and the recurve duals airflow, but there were also a lot of people that wanted more airflow. You got it now. Fully open, this thing is a beast. You could put in some serious coils and pump it to 200 watts if you want to. You will have the airflow. And the great thing about it is I wanted also to be able to cut down the airflow, and I wanted to drop down in levels. So you're getting, if you want it to be a semi-restrictive direct lung hit, you're getting more of that bottom airflow. So it's almost as if this is a bottom airflow RDA, the more you cut down the airflow. Fully open, it's getting hit on all directions, and I wanted just a slight slant on the airflow also. So this way it's hitting that coil. Also, with these single coil and dual coil adapters, it reduces the chamber. Now, you guys all know, when you reduce the chamber, what happens? You're going to get flavor. And that's what you're getting with this. So you're getting lots of airflow, and you're going to get great flavor. That's what it's all about. When it comes to a dripper, it's about how does it vape? How's the airflow, and how's the flavor? I know there's going to be people out there, the build deck, that's what it's all about because I get to take my Instagram pictures. No, it's not all about that. It's about the airflow and the flavor when it comes to an RDA. So I know people are going to be like, it's just a postless build deck. But yeah, but you're not vaping the postless build deck for the postless build deck or for the build deck. You're vaping the RDA to see what your airflow and your flavor is going to be. Those are like the two key things with a dripper. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments down below. It achieves it. You're going to have awesome airflow and awesome flavor. And I know a few people that already got it in their hands have already messaged me and told me, great job on this airflow and the flavor. So far I've been getting good feedback from other reviewers that already have this RDA. Don't go by my word. Watch other reviews. Check it out. I'm sure there's going to be lots of videos on the recurve version 2. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank all the reviewers for putting in the time to do a review for this RDA. Thank you to Waterfall. I've been getting hammered by people. We want to see a new recurve. We want a new recurve single coil. Then you have others. We want a new dual coil. I just gave you both. All right, and there you go. That was the recurve version 2 presentation video. In the description below, there will be no links to this because I can't. Not allowed. Good old YouTube policies. We'll have links to me, Mike Vapes, down below. As always. That's it. I'm done. Thank you. Remember, be safe, man. Keep on vaping. Vapes here. Today we got an RDA, yeah buddy. It's a 28mm, was sent to me by Vapers Cloud, Suicide Mods, collab between Bearded Viking Customs, my man Brent from South America. Met him a few times, awesome guy. Yeah, we got innovation here, folks. Does not come with that drip tip. That is a signature tips drip tip on there, doing a little matchy. Yeah, buddy. Let's go to the dive down. Let me show you guys everything about this RDA. We'll come back, vape on it. Then I'll give you guys all my thoughts on the Ripsaw RDA. And here's the packaging. The Ripsaw RDA by Bearded Viking Customs and Suicide Mods comes in. Inside the packaging, you'll get extra O-rings, extra gasket. I'll show you guys what this gasket is in a second. Post screws, you're going to get a straight up 510 pin Allen key tool, and the Ripsaw RDA 28mm on this one here. Let's check out the bottom. It does say Suicide Mods, serial number, your 510. And you're going to see if when you're looking at that 510, this has a screw inside there. That's what the Allen key tool is for, which you can see right here. I'm going to put it back in. Now, this screw is to plug the squonking feature with this, because you could do either squonking or without squonking, or you could just use the other 510 if you're not a squonker. You don't want that screw, whatever. You could swap it out and put the regular 510 in there. So right now, as you can see, it is secure, plugged, and ready to use. Now, if you're planning on using this on a hybrid mechanical mod, you could see the metal does stick out, but then you have this piece here. It's a plastic, like a Delrin protector. So you won't have any issues. This is perfect for a hybrid mechanical mod, because if you were to remove this plastic, you'll see a lot more of the 510. So like the protection on here, you'll have no issues with it. Looking on top, you do have your 810 drip tip, big wide bore drip tip, black O-ring on the inside. And if you're looking inside here, this piece here, this rubber seal that you see here, which I'll show you guys that in a second what it is. Cool feature with this is you do have top airflow with this, and the way to adjust the airflow is you grab this part here and you turn. Easier when the drip tip is in, because you have somewhere to grab. So by grabbing like that, you see that I'm closing down the airflow and opening it up, and then if you grab it from here, you could actually reposition where the airflow is going to be on top of the coils. Right, so your airflow adjustment is done with the drip tip. This part right inside here is what moves the airflow. And here's the inner part of the top cap. You can see there's your airflow, and you can see the airflow is right on top of the coil, but this does something different. It's not just on top of the coils. I'll show you guys in a bit. There's that rubber piece. It does stick up past this piece. Over here is going to be your airflow controller where it moves it around, and you also do have a locking system with this. Now let's check out the build deck, and there it is. So this is crazy. I've never seen something done like this before in a build deck. Let's get back to this here. We have double O-ring on this side, flathead screws on top, then this center piece here, and you do have some ramps. Now if you look down there, you're going to see a little hole. That's for squonking. This is a great RDA for squonking. Nice, deep juice well on there. So now the way this works is, obviously you put one coil on this side, another coil on this side, and then you have that piece there, that rubber seal, and what happens when this goes down, it seals around this opening here. So what happens now is that top airflow has no other choice but to come down, swoop all around the coils, go up that ramp, up and through the drip tip for you to produce vapor. That's pretty cool, the way they did that. So it almost makes it almost leak proof. If you can see the airflow, when you're looking at it on the side, but you can see that's on top. So that's pretty cool the way they did that. Now, coils I'll be using in this video are right here, 4-core Aliens 0.1 resistance. These are Vapor Cloud's coils. Now, when cutting down these coils, I recommend with a coily tool to cut them at 4mm. So as you can see, the positioning that right there is at 4mm, which is perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is just tighten these down. I'll grab the other coil, slip that in. See that, the way it sits in place, and tighten down the other side. And when you're tightening down, make sure to push that coil in, hold it there, and then tighten it. And when positioning the coils, you don't want the coil to be past this top part here, because remember, that top cap's going to sit right on there. So this is the way this coiling rod is placed. That's the way you touch. So this is too high. This is just right there. Right there is perfect for those coils. Now we're going to get the hot spots out. You want it glowing from the inside out. I'm going to use some regular Japanese organic cotton. Slide that through. Do the same thing on the other side. Now that I got the cotton in there, I'm going to cut it right about there. Keep it a little bit on the long side, but I'm also going to give it a little angle cut. Same thing here and here. Put that to the side for Steve, and now we will give it a comb out. Comb that side out, comb this side out, and then we will give it a little under action. Always got to do under actions, especially with this one here. It needs it. And this is all the leftover cotton over here. This is going to be for Steve. He's going to re-wick his Caliburn pods. And no, he's not going to do a video on it. I don't know how he does it, but he finds a way to re-wick them. He's crazy like that. Now I'll grab my tweezers and just loop that down. Get that cotton right inside there. Same thing on this side. And if it is too long, if you see it's bunching up on you and it doesn't want to sit in there properly or whatever, you could always cut it down. But remember, this is a pretty deep juice well, so this cotton was cut perfect. Now, when placing your cotton in here, you want to make sure this channel is open. You don't want your cotton blocking up to there, then this side blocking there. Because remember, the airflow is going to come up, swoop around the whole coil, go up the ramp, and through this hole, and out the drip tip. And there it is wicked. And obviously, when I do put liquid in there, I'll be able to move that cotton over just a little bit more on both sides. So let's get that nice and saturated now. Pump up some liquid on there. And another thing, when you do drip from the top, it's going to go right down the center here. Remember, there are ramps, so it's just going to glide down the ramps and fall down into the chamber. All right, got it on my boxer. Give it a little bit of heat. Oh, yeah, very nice. Pop that top on. Like I said, there is a locking system. You'll feel it right there. See that? It just dropped into place. Now it's locked in place. And here, now, we could adjust where we want the top of the airflow to be, or adjust the airflow itself. And you could cut it down starting from there, all the way down to there, or keep it fully open. So the ripsaw is going to come in a bunch of different colors: gunmetal, matte black, the one that I'm using now, polished stainless steel, and electric blue, which is right over here. And there you go. That was the Ripsaw RTA by Suicide Mods and Bearded Viking Customs. Let's go back on top. Let's vape on it, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. And there you have it. That was the up close of the Ripsaw RTA by Bearded Viking Customs Suicide Mods. Mike, your thoughts? Pros and cons. Okay. Cons on this. First con's going to have to be not all 810 drip tips fit well in here. For example, this Signature Tips drip tip 810, it was a pain to get inside that. I even lubed it up. I understand why it's like that, because you use the drip tip to control the airflow on here. If you have a loose drip tip, it's going to be kind of hard to turn to adjust the airflow on there. And another con with this is going to have to be, and this is more towards the people that love lots of airflow, you're not going to get it with this. You're going to get more of a restrictive direct lung with this RDA. Other than that, there's nothing really to complain about with it. I really can't find nothing else to complain about. I think that the key thing about this RDA is it's innovative. The way he designed this, the airflow coming in through the top, you don't have to worry about leaking with this, which is a big pro. The way the airflow comes in the top and it has to swoop around the whole coil, go up those ramps through the center, and come out the drip tip. No leaking. You're going to get airflow all around the coil, which is a huge pro. And that comes to flavor. Flavor on this is awesome. Great flavor with this. Big pro. Now, some key things about this is when cutting the coils down, you want to be at around 4 millimeters with the coily tool, and you want to make sure your coils are below that post, the way I showed during the up and close, because you saw the top cap, the way it sits on, it's got that seal to seal that hole, and it's very close. So you want to keep it below the posts because you don't want to short out with this. All in all, I think they did a great job with this. Let's have a vape. I have it at 110 watts. I'm using those coils. They're the Vapors Cloud Asgard mini coils. Let's hit them. The vapor and the flavor is awesome. But when you're running a high wattage on there, it gets kind of hot. This is more if you have a taller drip tip, that's where this RDA will benefit. And another con, this is going to be to the people that like to purge when purging on this, because of the way the airflow is, it's going to hit your face and burn you. So if you're a person that needs to purge, this RDA is definitely not for you. Now, the one thing I was worried about is, would I get any kind of funny noises with this? And I haven't gotten any. Fully open, the airflow feels great. If I try to cut down the airflow, which I'll do now, let's cut it down. I'll cut down 2 of the holes. I got 3 open. Much more restrictive and no noises. Yeah, I haven't experienced any funny noises. I know people have asked me if because I did say that I had this RDA during a live show. I had a couple of people email me, asking me, Mike, are you getting funny noises with it? No, it all has to do with positioning where you put the coils. Also, the cotton that's in there, if it's blocking the airflow where it swoops around, it might make a noise on you. But it's all key is positioning of the coils on how high it is. If it's a little bit up higher to where it's still safe, you might get a little bit of a sound coming. But I have it positioned in a perfect spot for so no noise or anything happens. It's a nice, smooth airflow. Kind of wish, though, it had a little bit more airflow. And there you go, guys. That was the Ripsaw RDA by Brent. My man Brent, congratulations on this RDA. Suicide Mods, Vapors Cloud. In the description below, no links to this RDA. I can't. I'm not allowed. It's the good old YouTube policies. I will have links to me, Mike Vapes, down below.